to share a few retail stories I have just about like all the jobs I've had through the years. But my first job was at a grocery store. I was 17 and kind of accidentally got the job because I applied just for fun and they hired me on the spot. And later learned that shit like that just doesn't happen. I blame the movies and I blame TV. It wasn't a bad job. It's just this was kind of right before they were better for workers because you had to ask permission to go to the bathroom on any time that wasn't your break. And if you dared to ask to go to the bathroom, they'd go, we'll have to close down all 5 registers just so you can go to the bathroom. I can't believe you have a bodily urge. I mean, the store's going to catch on fire and everything's going to be ruined because you need a bathroom break. And so there was that. And then there was, if you didn't clock out within 5 minutes of when you were supposed to get off, you had to get a manager. And you couldn't leave until your replacement got there. So if your replacement ran late, you were still at the register. But if you were still at the register and couldn't clock out, they'd be like, well, why didn't you clock out on time? Because you told me I couldn't leave until my replacement got here. And then you blame me. So yeah, that place kind of drove me insane. I didn't stay too long, and I probably should have went about it better when I left, but maturity issues, I was young, I've got really no excuse. I could have done it better. And then after that, I worked at a golf course, and I'll say this more later on. I do not recommend working in your hobbies. Like, I like to play golf. Do not work in something you like. I don't care how much you think you'll like it or you'll enjoy it. It will make you hate whatever that is. Unless you're on the PGA Tour getting paid to play golf, it sucks because I worked all the time. They worked around my school schedule, which was nice, but other than that, I worked every weekend. Every spare moment I had, they wanted me working 39 and a half hours a week. And just, it made me not want to play golf. You got free golf, but I didn't want to play. And it ended up working out that way. And then I left there because eventually when it gets wintertime, the hours, nobody's playing, so they don't really need you. But I did get tips, which was nice. It was never a lot of money because no one tipped well. No one wanted to tip. But it did give me appreciation for people that worked for tips. But I mean, they paid a decent wage, so. Then my next job was that summer. I got hired at the golf course I grew up at to work in the clubhouse. And then I got hired to work maintenance too. I didn't really mind that. I had to be at work at 5 a.m. 3 days a week. But other than that, it wasn't a bad job getting paid to cut grass and weed eat. And then the job in the clubhouse was cake. It was far and away the easiest job I ever had. And I didn't have to do anything. Like, run the cash register, because the boss I had was so impossibly thorough that he couldn't stand it if somebody else did the deposit. So he would do the deposit, and I wouldn't have to do anything. I just have to lock up at the end of the day. That was it. There was nothing else. It was just sit around and watch TV. So I didn't realize how sweet I had it at the time, but it was a really easy job. And the maintenance wasn't that bad either, but I left there at the end of the summer because I took a job at a bookstore. And oh man, this is probably the worst place I ever worked at. Because like I said before, I like to read. Do not work in your hobbies. Do not. Because a lot of places you work, they come down to poor management. They really do. Like the district manager will tell them to do one thing, the manager will tell them to do another. And I get it. You're getting pulled in 100 different directions, so they don't know what to do. Because when I worked, I would get there and the manager would say, well, all these books need to go out before your shift's over. I said, okay, sounds great. It's like, but you need to run a cash register. Okay. So when nobody was in line, I'd try to put up books and the manager would see me. You can't leave your register. oh, well, you told me all these books needed to go out and I've got no customers. You said all these books need to go out before my shift's over. They do. Okay, but if I can't leave my register, how are the books supposed to go out? They never had an answer. They just said they all had to go out, and then at the end of the shift, they'd ask why I didn't put all the books out. Okay, then. I guess confusion rules the day. And everyone that was working there, with a few exceptions, either worked another job or was in school. And most nights, we closed at 10, but the manager, you had to straighten the store, and the store could be in any manner of disrepair. You've been in bookstores. People sit in those chairs and read, leave stuff out. So you got to put everything back, straighten everything. And some managers, as far as they were concerned, if they saw one book out of place, you were staying another 30 minutes. So there were nights I didn't get off until 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And that was ridiculous because you had class at 8 o'clock the next day. I couldn't handle it. A lot of people couldn't handle it. Like, why do we have to stay this late? Why are we open till midnight on the weekends? It's ridiculous to be open that late. And I even did a midnight release of a book, and wasn't a Harry Potter book. I think it was one of the Aragon books. It couldn't have been a bigger waste of time. Like 3 people came to get it. Because there were prizes, but since only 3 people showed up, only 3 of them got the prizes. So I ended up, I just got tired of working all the time. Again, it was, you need money, but I didn't want to have to, because I was working 50 plus hours a week. And as far as they were concerned, I just lived to work. So I ended up leaving there. And after that, little backstory, I wanted nothing more than to work at GameStop. I was one of those people that came in there and hung out and would badger the manager for a job. You know the ones. You've been to GameStop. You see the people that are always hanging out there. I was one of them. And he never would hire me. And I don't blame him because I was a pain in the ass. And I get that. And I'd always ask. I'd put in applications. And I think the manager would just rip them up. And then eventually he just decided to hire me. And there are all kinds of videos on this. So on GameStop, and it was a terrible place to work. It really wasn't that bad when I worked there. It's just, number one, I think we had 80 hours for the store, and that was between 2 managers and 3 or 4 part-time employees. So that tells you how many hours I got. I got about 3 every 2 weeks. Maybe if somebody was on vacation, I might get lucky and get 9. So I worked so infrequently that, like, everything that I was supposed to know how to do, like, when you do something every day, it just becomes second nature. But when you don't work that much, you're going to have some issues, because one of the managers complains, like, God, I hate working with you because you don't know how to do anything. Tell them to give me more hours, man. But you could rent games, which was nice. You could go rent a game and keep it for as long as you wanted. And I liked working in video games, but again, don't work in your hobbies. It will make you hate them. Because you had to push those reward cards. You had to push those, get those, you had to get reserves. You didn't get any money for it. You just got, hey, you met your goals. You get to come back tomorrow. If you got more hours, the more you did. Like at the bookstore, they sold discount cards. And if you did you got like $1 a card, it was at least something. So if you had a good day, you might could get something. But I don't think the reserves paid. You might have got $1, but whatever it wasn't enough. And there was another guy that didn't work any hours, but they kept him on the schedule because he wanted to rent games. And I always found this pretty funny. He kept Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Xbox. But I didn't even know it came out for the Xbox, but it was a rare game even back then. So it was $80. And they finally had to tell him, hey, you got to bring it back in. You can get it back in about 3 days, but we got to do an audit or something. And he brought it back in and put it on the counter, and some guy came in and bought it immediately. He was so mad. And I was going to transfer when I went back to college, and I had it lined up and everything. I was going to work at the mall location, going to get more hours, and I came in the week before I was supposed to start and talked to somebody, and the manager that was going to switch me over quit and went somewhere else. So that was the end of that. But I'll get further into other places I've worked on another video.